on a somber note, what was your thoughts on the passing of Bobby Knight?
Yeah, just heard that a little while ago. Obviously, Coach Knight had a huge impact on the game. Really was the dominant coaching figure of my childhood after John Wooden, retired. Then Coach Knight was the center of attention for a lot of good and bad reasons, but yeah, made an incredible impact on the game, and nobody will ever forget him with that personality and that demeanor and the way he went about his business. Very complex guy, but an amazing coach in many ways.
Just a quick follow-up. I know you played under Lute Olson. Any like thoughts on how like Bobby Knight coached? Any way it influenced how you coach?
He and Coach Olson could not have been more opposite. So I got a totally different experience than my fellow college student athletes at Indiana. But I did come across Coach Knight. We ran into each other in 1986. I was playing in the World Championships, and he was doing television commentary. And we had lost a game, and he came to our practice, and he pulled me aside and basically went on a tirade. I'd never met him before. And he went on a tirade. He said, I want you to take those bleep and bleep teammates of yours and bleep bleep and tell them to bleep bleep. And I said, yes, sir, Coach Knight. And then I went to the players and I said, hey, Coach Knight just encouraged us to play well tonight. And that was it. He was terrifying. He was terrifying. I'm not going to lie.
Steve, I know you've talked about this generally, and you weren't the general manager of the offseason, you weren't going through every move, but when you go through some of the moves, I mean, was there a theme? Is there, did Dunleavy and the others say, here's what we're trying to do with each kind of player, and was there a commonality that Sarich, Chris Paul, even the draft choices? Did you see some kind of commonality there?
Well, first of all, Mike has obviously been here for the last 5 or 6 years, and so we already had a great relationship. But he watched our team all last year and the year before, and I think Mike made a determination right away when he got the job that we needed to be more experienced, and we needed to add someone like Dario, just like 2 years ago when we had Belly and Otto Porter. Dario fills a role that's really important. So part of it was just, wanting to fill a couple of spots with players who we knew we could really use. And then I think Mike's overall feeling was we just needed more experience, more vets, and he did a phenomenal job. The two guys we drafted are really exciting, very advanced, very fundamentally sound guys who fit, different combinations. So it's exciting. Every year is different. Every year presents different opportunities and circumstances. And I think Mike just kind of read everything beautifully and put together a great roster with the front office.
Steve, you're obviously playing 10 guys most nights, and not only that, but even 8th, 9th, and 10th guys are getting 15, 20 minutes. The balance of the minutes is pretty striking. How conscious and cautious are you about the minutes for the main guys, especially in a stretch like this with, I think, 8 games in 8 cities in 12, 13 days?
Yeah, I mean, I'm conscious of it early season all the time because guys don't, just show up on opening night ready to play big minutes. But the last couple of years, we haven't really had the luxury of keeping Steph's minutes down in particular. I think for my first 7 years here, I'll bet he averaged 32 minutes a game, and the last couple of years, it was probably 35, 36. And that matters. I think that adds up. So especially as it relates to Steph, I'd like to keep those minutes closer to that 32 range if possible. And this roster is proving to give me and give our staff that opportunity. With Chris's presence, his ability to run the next group that's out there while Steph's on the bench, it changes everything.
Steve, any injury updates for Clay, Dario, and JK?
Clay and Dario are good to go. JK is going to warm up and see how he's feeling.
And then just want to see, how does De'Aaron Fox's absence change anything if at all, for you guys?
It's the ultimate trap game tonight. You know, you guys have seen this a million times. A team, you know, loses one of its stars, and I think last year we had a game here where Phoenix was missing 4 out of their 5 starters, and they came in and smacked us. So I've already given the players a warning, and it's not just that Sacramento is missing Fox. It's, you know, we got home 2 nights ago in the middle of the night, and haven't done anything since. We didn't have shoot around today. I wanted the guys to get some sleep, but it's not easy coming back from those long road trips. And so the guys know we've got to be ready. Sac's been getting ready for this for the last 2 days, knowing De'Aaron wasn't going to play. We better be ready. They're coming for us tonight.
Speaking of Steph's, I'm sorry, you've gone 35, I think, in the Sacramento game for Steph, and 31, 32 in some others. Do you and Chris have a number every night that you want to get him to? Is it, or do you I think a couple nights ago you let the bench go for like 8 minutes in the first half, which is a little rare for Steph to being out. Is that just feel for when you can put him back in? How does that number work nightly?
Chris's number?
No, Steph's number.
Steph's number. Yeah, I mean, we map it out for 32, and then we see how the game's going. And you know, we mapped it out for 32 last year, but most games didn't go that well, and we had to play them more. But you know, if we can keep closer to 32 this year, I think it'll bode well for Steph. And I do think this team is more capable of it just across the board with the veteran experience. You know, and having Gary here from the beginning, it's a huge factor for us. Gary's every game, his impact is felt, whether he's making shots or not. So the fact that he's here, we got Chris, you know, running the show, Dario, it's a different vibe.
And is Chris 28, something like that? The target number, 26,
Yeah,
28?
you know, that one's more variable. I think, you know, when he was starting, it was tough to keep him under 30. Maybe now that he's coming off the bench, we can keep him, you know, lower than that, but we'll see.
Oh, Steve?
Hi, Scott.
Yeah, I apologize if you
He's
may
getting
have,
approval from you? All right.
if you may have already covered this. I got here late, but the holy smokes moment on the sidelines, holy moly, whatever you want to call it, with you and Steph the other night. So after all this time, he still kind of has the ability to amaze you with what he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, he does, but I think the mark of his greatness is that hardly ever happens. You know, where I actually say something like that to him. We see it every night, you know. And I when people ask me what's the most amazing thing Steph has done or what stands out to you, I literally can't think of one thing because it's every single night. It was the same way with Michael Jordan, you know, like what was Michael's most amazing thing? The fact that he did it every night and it was expected. After the Houston game, I did my media. The mainstays were here. Shout out, Kendra. But most of you weren't there. But nobody asked me about Steph's flurry at the end, you know, 4 3s. Nobody even asked. And because, you know, it's like we're so used to seeing this. That wasn't a shot. But, you weren't there anyway. I forget. Anthony was there, I know that. But no, the point being, he just he does this stuff night after night after night, and it starts to blend together. But the other night, just that seemed otherworldly. The shooting, the flow, the beauty of it all. So yeah, I had to respond.
Forgive the non-sequitur because I know you have another game between now and then, but the first in-season tournament game is on Friday. Do you anticipate putting any special emphasis on it? There's only 4 of the qualifying games beforehand, or is it going to be treated kind of like another regular season game?
I wasn't going to make a big deal out of it, and then they told us that the coaching staff gets a big bonus if we win it. So Steph's going 48. we're locked in on the in-season tournament. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. I know, we all saw the court designs and stuff, and, there's going to be a different feel for sure. But since we've never been through this, it's hard to really know what to expect. But I do think the competitive nature of all the players and coaches in this league, I think everybody's going to want to win it. And guys are going to go hard, and I think it's good. I like what the league is doing. I think it's got potential to be really fun, and so I'm all in.
Do you think there's a possibility of playing guys a little more minutes than you might in a typical regular season game?
Probably not. I mean, Tim just said I played Steph 35 against Sacramento in that game because we needed it. I mean, so maybe he plays 35 that night if the game is really close and in the balance. But I'm definitely not treating it like a finals game where he might play 42. We've got a back-to-back 2 days later in Cleveland or Detroit, and we have to think big picture. But a few extra minutes, sure.
Steve, it seems pretty obvious, even if you didn't know that Chris and Dario had played together before, that they have, just by watching the way they work on the court. There seems to be a clear connection.
Yeah.
I'm curious your description of sort of what you see in the way they play together and how much impact that can have for you guys.
Well, you're talking about two really, really smart, fundamentally sound players. So the game is easier for guys like that. But then you're also talking about two guys who really play the pick and roll well. I mean, Chris is one of the all-time great pick and roll players, and Dario, as a player who was, brought up in Croatia, where they develop big guys really well. Really, these guys generally come out of that region of the world with a lot of skill, ball handling, passing, seeing the floor. So you put those together, even if they hadn't played together in Phoenix, I think they would have been a great combination. But you add in their experience with Phoenix, and they already have that connection. It's really smooth when they're out there.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jeannie.
It's always a treat to see Alvin Gentry. He's out there tonight, and
The holding court?
no, he's just taking it in.
Yeah.
But you referenced their front office, and can you imagine what having him means to Mike Brown and everybody up there, still having Alvin involved? Yeah,
I mean, Alvin's everybody's favorite guy in the league. He's just so full of life and humor and joy, and also he just has a ton of experience. So I know he's a valuable resource for them over there, and it's always really fun to see him.